Hello and welcome to Raju Notes channel, your pit stop for weekly current affairs updates. The updates tailor-made for students taking all kinds of competitive exams like UPSC, civils, defense and placement interviews. Please subscribe to the channel and stay updated every Sunday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Oman Sultan Haitham bin Tariq last week adopted a vision document to expand bilateral cooperation in around 10 key areas and pushed for concluding a comprehensive economic partnership agreement as early as possible during their productive talks to inject new momentum in the India-Oman strategic ties. The two sides also announced the third tranche of Oman-India Joint Investment Fund worth rupees 300 million that would be used for channelizing investment into the fastest growing sector of the Indian economy. Minister of External Affairs said the discussions were comprehensive and constructive and covered maritime cooperation, trade and investment cooperation, and cooperation in new areas like space and financial technology. Khel India Games will be held in Tamil Nadu January next year. The state government said that the games will be held in Chennai, Coimbatore, Madurai and Trichy from 19 to 31st of January 2024. More than 5,500 sportspersons and over 1,600 coaches are expected to participate in the event. More than 1,000 referees and 1,200 volunteers will be part of the sporting event, in which 27 types of sports will be played. For the first time, squash will be included in Khel India Games. The Defence Ministry has said that the doctors at the Army Hospital in Delhi can't have successfully conducted for the first time in India a life-saving bone marrow transplant for a child diagnosed with a rare primary immunodeficiency disorder. The ministry said that the groundbreaking procedure had opened a new doors for hope for children and families facing similar challenges. It added that the patient, a 7-year-old boy, was diagnosed with ARPC1B, a very rare form of immunodeficiency at 1 year of age. It severely compromised his immune system and made him prone to repeated life-threatening infections and other complications. The ministry further said that the Army Hospital conducted a matched, unrelated donor transplant within 6 months of being referred to the hospital. The procedure aims to replace the defective immune cells with the healthy ones. The Telecommunication Bill 2023 was introduced in Lok Sabha on Monday last week. The bill allows the government to take over, manage or suspend any or all telecommunication services or networks in the interest of national security. It states that a message from media persons with accreditation shall not be intercepted unless the transmission is prohibited. Union Earth Sciences Minister Kiran Rijiju on Monday flagged off India's first ever winter science expedition to the Arctic region. Our scientists are poised to unravel further mysteries and push boundaries of scientific knowledge about our climate and planet, Rijiju said. 4 scientists would stay at the research center at New Alesund town in Norway for 30 to 35 days, an official said. The Parliament this week passed the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganisation Second Amendment Bill 2023 and the Government of Union Territories Amendment Bill 2023, with Rajya Sabha passing it by voice vote amidst opposition sloganeering. Both legislations were passed by Lok Sabha last week. The Jammu and Kashmir Reorganisation Second Amendment Bill seeks to reserve 33% of seats in the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly for women. It is intended to enable greater representation and participation of women as a public representative in the law-making process in the Union Territory. The Government of Union Territories Amendment Bill 2023 seeks to reserve 33% of seats in the Puducherry Assembly for women as well. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, former military chief, secured a third 6-year term this week after winning 89.6% of vote in an election overshadowed by the war in the neighboring Gaza and a flattering economy. Political experts said after winning another 6 years term, his immediate priorities would be taming near record inflation, managing a chronic foreign currency shortage and preventing spillovers from the conflict between Israel and Gaza Hamas rulers. Voting was spread over 3 days. Three candidates stood against Sisi in the election, none of them a high profile figure. The Post Office Bill that seeks to replace the 125-year-old Indian Post Office Act 1898 was cleared by the Parliament on Monday. It authorizes post office employees to intercept, open, or detain any item. In the interest of state security, public safety, and order emergency, contravention of laws, etc., officials can hand over suspected banned postal items to the custom authorities. The Rajya Sabha has passed Telecommunication Bill 2023. The bill seeks to replace the Indian Telegraph Act of 1885. It is intended to amend and consolidate the law related to development, expansion, and operation of telecommunication services and its networks. The bill provides that telecom services provider must verify the identity of the user through any verifiable biometric-based identification. It lays down provisions that the central government will provide authorization for telecom-related activities and assign spectrum. It will also mandate that the procedures and safeguards related to interception will be prescribed by the central government. Electronics and IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw moved the bill in the upper house. He also withdrew the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India Amendment Bill of 2008. The Lok Sabha has passed the Chief Election Commissioner and other Election Commissioner Appointment Condition of Service and Terms of Office Bill 2023. The bill replaces the Election Commission, that is, Conditions of the Service of Election Commissioner and Transactions of Business Act of 1991. It provides for appointment, salary, and removal of the Chief Election Commissioner (CEC) and the Election Commissioner (ECs). According to the provisions of the bill, the CECs and ECs will be appointed by the President upon recommendation of a selection committee. The selection committee will consist of Prime Minister, a Union Cabinet Minister, and Leader of Opposition or Leader of the largest opposition party in the Lok Sabha. Under the legislation, a search committee headed by a law secretary will propose a panel of names to the selection committee. The first meeting of Nepal-Sri Lanka Joint Commission was held this week in Kathmandu. The main agenda of the Joint Commission is to enhance trade and investment between the two countries, increasing air connectivity by starting Kathmandu-Colombo air route, exchange culture, tourism and education, and regional cooperation including strengthening of SAARC and BIMSTEC processes and cooperation in multilateral forums. In the meeting today, possibility of an air connection between Colombo and Lumbini was also discussed. A memorandum of understanding on cooperation in the field of science and technology and innovation were also signed. Africa's second biggest oil producer, Angola, has said that it is leaving the OPEC after disagreements over its production targets in a blow to the oil cartel chaired by Saudi Arabia. The decision was taken at the cabinet meeting and approved by President João Lourenço. The decision came after the producer group lowered Angola's oil output target last month as part of the series of cuts led by Saudi Arabia to help prop up the prices. Angola joined OPEC in 2007 but has clashed with Saudi Arabia at recent meetings over attempts to lower its production. It walked out of the OPEC meeting in June, but eventually agreed along with Nigeria and the Republic of Congo for its production baseline to be reviewed by an independent third party. Angola has been battling to turn around declining production for nearly a decade. The United States official this week stated that the Biden administration is preparing to ease the restrictions on some weapons sale to Saudi Arabia. According to officials, Saudi Arabia has passed US lawmakers and presidential aides to ease the ban on sale of offensive weapons, as Saudi wants to strengthen its southern borders with Yemen in case of future clashes. By far, Saudi Arabia is the largest buyer of American arms. US President Joe Biden imposed a ban 2 years ago amid concerns that the US weapons were being used against civilians in Yemen. Saudi Arabia's request comes as threat from the militia group are rising. Just south of Saudi Arabia, the Houthis in Yemen have started a fierce offensive that has interrupted international trade by firing missiles and drones at the commercial ships in the Red Sea. India has invited French President Emmanuel Macron to be the chief guest at the Republic Day celebrations on January 26th, PTI reported. Citing sources, India had invited US President Joe Biden as a chief guest, but he expressed inability to travel to New Delhi in January. The report added. Notably, Macron attended the G20 summit in September this year. The Japanese government said that it will send Patriot air defense missiles to the US after changing its arms export rules. It is considered a significant shift away from its pacifist policies. It comes after the US government reportedly requested Japan to change its defense export rules. It is for the first time Tokyo has done so since 2014. According to media reports, the move could free up the US to send its own stockpile to Ukraine. Western powers have been running out of ammunition to supply Ukraine. Patriot missiles are among the most advanced weapons supplied by the US to Ukraine. And now for the segment where we see the events that unfolded itself this week back in history. 17 December 1903, Flight of Wright brothers. On this day in 1903, near Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, brothers Oliver and Wilbur Wright made the first successful sustained flights in the aeroplane. Oriville first glided 120 feet through the air in 12 seconds. 18 December 1865, slavery abolished in the United States. On this day in 1865, proclamation of the US Secretary of State, the 13th Amendment to the Constitution outlaying slavery officially entered into force, having been ratified by the requisite states on December 6th. 19 December 1998, articles of impeachment approved against US President Bill Clinton. On this day in 1998, the US House of Representatives impeached President Bill Clinton, charging him with perjury and obstruction of justice, though Clinton was acquitted by the Senate the following month. 20 December 1999, Macau made an administrative region of China. On this day in 1999, 12 years after the agreement was reached between China and Portugal, several centuries of Portugal rule ended in Macau, where it became a special administrative region under the Chinese sovereignty. 21st December 1898, radium discovered by Marie and Pierre Curie. On this day in 1898, having recently discovered polonium, future Nobel Prize winners Marie and Pierre Curie discovered the radioactive chemical element radium, a silvery white metal that would be used to treat cancer. 22nd December 1894, Alfred Dreyfus sentenced to life in prison. On this day in 1894, on the basis of spurious evidence and the anti-Semitism, French army officer Alfred Dreyfus was sentenced to life in prison for treason, sparking a controversy that divided France for 12 years. December 1995, Alexander Kwasniewski inaugurated as Polish president. Alexander Kwasniewski, formerly an apatrachik of Poland's ruling Communist Party, was sworn in as the country's president this day in 1995, having narrowly defeated Lech Walesa, Poland's first post-communal president.
Well, that's all friends for this week's updates. See you soon next Sunday on the same channel. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.